You've also heard from the CEO and the FGM, that's Canada. There's a lot of cooperation which has been going on between our office and generally the other stakeholders. Thank you so much for being the focal point for this discussion on FGM. Judy just said from MPS, there you are, has also given a lot of wisdom on what we should do in order to get prosecution. The 21st century prosecution, we need to work closely with the investigators and other bodies. We have also heard from Dr. Omar County, who spoke on behalf of the county commissioner. He gave us what the experience on the ground. We have heard that as much as we may be thinking that some of the FGM practices are in particular areas, he gave us an idea, and we have come to understand that there are more things that we need to go down. We need to do a lot of sensitization, possibly even with the media. So we have heard from the county commissioners. We also heard from a medic, that is Dr. Samuel. He told us there are various things which we need to look at. There are various phases of what we call the FGM, the CAT itself. So we learned a lot, and with great honor, this session is for the DPP. I would humbly request the DPP to ask Lady Justice to come and speak and also advise us. DPP, allow me to do that. Thank you so much, sir. Yes.
No, it's okay. So do I? Oh, okay. I think she just wants me to introduce you and then ask you to come up. So Honorable Justice Mulgo, thank you for coming, attending this very important function on the female genital mutilation, which is an area that we placed a lot of emphasis on. And today we were discussing SOPs and how best the prosecution can come in to ensure that the crime is effectively dealt with and prosecuted. So, Honorable Justice, I'd like to welcome you. Thank you.
So, the Director of Public Prosecution, partners, state councils, I'm sure there are many today for me to speak with. Thank you so much for inviting the judiciary here today. The Honorable, the Chief Justice, Justice Martha Kome, asked me to come in this morning because she had other business to attend to. And she asked that I represent her here at this very, very auspicious occasion where you're talking about female genital mutilation. As you're probably aware, and I'm sure as you know, this would be a topic that is very close to her heart, knowing from where she comes, particularly, and FGM is an area that really affects that particular part of our society, women and children. So on behalf of the Chief Justice, I'm very, very pleased to be here. I will also not only be here in my capacity as the judge of the Court of Appeal, but I'll also wear my other hat, which is the International Association of Women Judges Kenya chapter, for which I'm the president of that association. And insofar concerned, the issues of women and children are critical and very close to our objectives as an association, particularly in the area of conserving of their human rights. FGM, and I've seen it and heard it many times, is a violation of human rights, and which is why it is a topic of discussion within our communities today that we need to continue to discuss and to be able to create awareness as to the kind of harms and effects or the kind of effects that it has on women, children, and societies as a whole. For us as the judiciary, it's an area that we want, or we feel it is important to get the area around prosecutions resolved to a very large extent. Why do we say that? We found that in various offenses, that where the prosecution is able to identify the key elements in ingredients, and then those ingredients are proved beyond reasonable doubt within the courts, is more likely to ensure that that convictions are secured. I'm sure you know that for yourself. But for ourselves, sitting where we sit, we want to ensure that what is then presented to us are cases that are foolproof to the extent that then the convictions that the prosecution is seeking to obtain can thus be achieved. Because without that being achieved, then the case will not be successful in and of itself. So I think what you're doing today, these standard operating procedures that you're putting in place, are going to go a long, long way towards resolving this hugely difficult area of FGM. In FGM, you need the support of communities. You need to have the different players in the areas, in the area of FGM, to come to the table to address these issues. And if they are not addressed, then parties will continue to play what's called the cat and mouse game, where you think that you're going to secure or you're going to be able to prosecute your cases successfully, but in the end, sometimes you don't have victims, you don't have witnesses, you don't have the perpetrators. I recall one occasion where I was in the Kehansha area, and we came across a team from the DPP's office that had been sent to Kehansha because it was the FGM season that had come around at that particular point in time. And they were there to see if, or to ensure that it was a multi-sectoral team that was there to see how they were going to be able to at least protect the victims of FGM who are on the ground. And the biggest problem that they told us at the time was that they ended up catching up with the victim, or with the child or the woman who was going through FGM. And by the time you're charging this person with an offense, not only are they the victim, they're suffering the effects of the FGM at the time, and everybody was at a loss as to what is this person doing in court. So I think what we are trying to achieve here today is to a huge extent going to alleviate many of the challenges and problems that you are experiencing on the ground. And that way, when cases then come to court, we know we're dealing with the right person. We've been looking at this as a judiciary in the area, for example, of human trafficking. Sometimes you find that the victim that comes to court is actually a person, or the person who is being charged with the offense is actually the victim of the crime. So that when you are prosecuting that person, there is someone else behind the scene, the actual perpetrator, who needed to be in court in that person's place. So that I think what we're trying to do here is valid, it's critical, it's essential, and on behalf of the judiciary and the Chief Justice, we just want to commend you for what you're doing here, because it will make all our lives much more, we will be able to understand what it is we are trying to achieve and how it is we're going to be able to achieve it. It becomes clearer as to how we'll be able to take a process from beginning up to its logical conclusion. So without saying too much, and perhaps preempting many of the discussions that are going to be taking place here, Please let me thank you so much for allowing us as the judiciary to participate in this discussion as you proceed to validate these operating procedures. We want to assure you that as the judiciary, we are all part of this justice chain. We always say that we are at the end of the chain. But if the chain has been working effectively up to the point where the cases come to court and are prosecuted, then there is the likelihood that your efforts and the efforts of all those who are in this process to try and address the issues around female genital mutilation will be successfully addressed. So let me end all very much for having given us this opportunity, and we'll be with you. We'll continue to sit with you as you work your way through this program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Legal Justice, for that wisdom. I know how committed you are. Thank you for coming and giving us that the tips on how we should go about the FGM. Thank you so much. I'm honored now to actually invite the DPP to give us his words of wisdom and also to open the workshop officially. Welcome, DPP.
Thank you. I have a speech, so I'll read the speech. Lady Justice Mugo, the Judge of the Court of Appeal, Judy Jabet, Assistant Inspector General, National Police Service, Benedict Loluju, CEO, Anti-FGM Board, representative of the Law Society of Kenya. You want me to pick this up? Representative of the Law Society of Kenya, Asinath Mwithiga, representative of the UNFPA, George Ndungu, World Vision, Dr. Samuel Kimani, Africa Coordinating Center for Abandonment of FGM, representative of FIDA, county commissioners, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the ODPP, I'm delighted to welcome you all to the validation workshop on the standard operating procedures for prosecution of female genital mutilation as a harmful cultural practice. I would like to take this opportunity first to express my gratitude to the United Nations Population Fund for partnering with the ODPP in organizing this workshop. This workshop brings together the actors in the fight against FGM, including the judiciary, the ODPP, the National Police Service, Department of Children's Services, the Ministry of Health, the Anti-FGM Board, the Law Society of Kenya, the county commissioners, the civil society, amongst others. The diversity of expertise drawn from this institution underscores the fact that a multifaceted and multidisciplinary approach is critical to combating FGM. As we all are aware, FGM is one of the most serious human rights violations against women and girls, especially girls, as it causes extreme pain, both physical and psychological, permanent scarring, childbirth, complications, psychological dysfunction, trauma, depression, and even death. And this is something I have myself experienced with family members, having coming from the Northeast. We recognize Kenya's long-standing efforts to eradicate FGM through the ratification of international human rights instruments and protocols, like the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women and the Protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights on the Rights of Women in Africa. These international and regional instruments call on state parties to condemn discrimination against women and to end all forms of gender-based discrimination against women and girls, including FGM. We have also seen the enactment of Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation Act 2011, which prohibits the practice of FGM and safeguards against the violation of a person's mental or physical integrity through the practice of FGM. Further, the government of Kenya is committed to ending FGM by 2022 through various collaborative policies and strategies such as the implementation of the national policy for the eradication of FGM and the socio-economic driven strategies like the Johari Beads Initiative, which seeks to raise awareness on ending FGM and promotion of the well-being of women and girls. In recognizing our critical role in ending FGM, the ODPP has developed the standing operating procedures for prosecution of FGM as a harmful cultural practice. The main objective of these SOPs that we are discussing today is to standardize and ensure consistency and efficiency in the investigation and prosecution of staffed with 50 prosecutors in the 22 hotspots countrywide. The implementation of the FGM Act through efficient and effective prosecution of all matters related to FGM and other harmful cultural practices such as children marriages. Membership of the National Multi-Agency Technical Committee and the County Anti-FGM Steering Committees formed to fast-track the implementation of the Presidential Directive to eliminate FGM by 2022, which is estimated next year. Engaging in community sensitizations across the country, participated in the International Day on Zero Tolerance to FGM held on 6th February 2021 at Alea in West Pokot. However, we must acknowledge that despite our efforts towards eradicating FGM, we still face challenges in the prosecution of these cases. This is due to hostility from communities practicing FGM, and sadly, especially from women, medicalization of FGM by some professionals, low reporting and poor documentation of evidence in FGM cases, the lack of proper investigation in reported cases, cross-border FGM practices and witness intimidation and threats, among others. In light of these challenges, it is clear that we must adopt mutually contrived strategies that will ensure that all actors involved in ending FGM discharge their duties with integrity, transparency, and accountability. We therefore welcome your continued partnership as we seek to end FGM in Kenya. We look forward to your robust contribution and proposal during the validation exercises of the SOPs. In particular, we hope that we will jointly develop an action plan for stakeholders, sensitization, implementation, and dissemination of these SOPs. It is my sincere hope that SOPs will enhance enforcement and implementation of the Prohibition of FGM Act and contribute towards the eradication of FGM in line with His Excellency the President's commitment to end FGM by 2022. As I conclude, it is important that we remember that when our girls are not at a high risk of illness or death from FGM, when their dignity and their fundamental rights to health, physical integrity, and security are protected, they become assets to the country's development. Indeed, under the United Nations 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the call to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls by ending FGM could not be clearer. This call can only be achieved when we appreciate, uplift, and protect in equal measure the invaluable role of women and girls in our society. As ODPP, we will strive to ensure that women and girls that pass through the criminal justice system enjoy full gender equality. We call upon like-minded partners to join us in the journey as we strive to uphold the rule of law, respect for human rights, and human dignity as envisioned in the Constitution. As ODPP, as I said, we take this FGM issue with the gravity and the attention that it deserves. And because of this, we felt that it is high time to be able to come up with SOPs that will guide not only the prosecutors, but also the investigators. As gatekeepers of the criminal justice system, we have also come up with quite a number of documents, including the decision to charge, that will fit in within the SOPs, so that the investigators understand and appreciate the threshold that is required, as was pointed out by Honorable Justice Mulgo. The threshold that evidence before the courts will be able, we as prosecutors will be able to prosecute it and demonstrate to the judge or the magistrate that we have evidence beyond reasonable doubt. And because of this, this exercise is absolutely essential and important. we must be able to work together. One, to be able to eradicate, but we can only be able to eradicate the practice if we as stakeholders on the ground are able to work together and ensure that the evidence is properly collected, is properly collated, and is properly packaged for the prosecutor to be able to prosecute the case before court. But we are also expected, or I also expect that we will be able to go to the ground and sensitize the public so that they understand the ills of FGM, but they also understand that we will only be able to eradicate it, and we will only be able to help the communities if they are willing to talk, if they are willing to give us the evidence, if they are willing to become witnesses, and you know, if we should also be able to give them the confidence to be able to work with us. There is no way that we are going to be able to eradicate this practice if we do not have the cooperation that is desired. But then again, we also must be individuals of integrity, because without integrity, we will not be able to convince the public that we are there to help them and we are there to ensure that this exercise is eradicated. Perhaps in the SOPs, we will try as best as we can, because of the cultural probably taboo behind women sharing their inner, I don't know how I can put it, but it's a matter that really, if discussed, really encroaches on someone's privacy. So we will try as best as possible from ODPP to ensure that we have female prosecutors working on this with the ladies who are affected. I will also ask the Inspector General of Police to ensure that the police officers investigating are also women police officers, to give confidence to the women and girls who are affected by this. So once again, I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the UNFPA, to the ODPP staff also, for this exercise today. Have been successfully undertaken it. My special thanks to Honorable Justice Mugo for coming and agreeing to represent the Chief Justice, who was not able to come today. Your presence and the attention that the Chief Justice places to this is, of course, testament to your commitment to ending FGM in Kenya. And I assure you that we will work together hand in hand, together with the other stakeholders who are here today. So thank you, and God bless you.
ODPP, allow us to disturb you a little, just to state that this function is officially open. It's open.
Sorry, so this function is officially open. Yeah, maybe I'll just add, again, I just said it in passing. This also goes, it's something that myself personally, I have tried to take attention and pay attention to it, because it has affected my community more than any other community in Kenya. Probably that's what I can say. But I have personally experienced the ill and the devastating effects of FGM on ladies, even within my own family. So it is something that we will pay attention to, and it is something that we will ensure is properly rolled out and undertaken. So I want to assure UNFPA and the other stakeholders who are here that ODPP will put its best foot forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, our guests. I will be inviting you for a group photo, and Madam Beatrice Omari will be guiding us as to where we'll take a photo. Then we can come back with the session where we'll be doing the hard work. Thank you so much.